Welcome to the Prep Pigskin Report podcast, hosted by Papa Pig himself, Paul Rudy.
Welcome to PPR Podcast number 30. Everybody knows Burt Grossman. My name is Paul, and in the hot seat, sitting in the middle between us, is new head football coach at Torrey Pines High School, Coach Robby Collins. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having me on. How are you guys?
I am well. Before we get started, I just have to do this really quickly. In my hand, I have 3 signed Burt Grossman autograph pictures. They are going out to you, Mr. Miller, in case you're watching this podcast. I'm putting them in the envelope, and I will mail them today, so you'll have them hopefully later this week. I appreciate you sending them in. Burt signed them. You acknowledge that you signed them?
Yeah.
Well, just for authenticity. These
Okay.
are the compare. All right.
Sorry, Robby. He doesn't usually do this.
Yeah. All right.
You're good. We're used to it. We had people sending Dwayne Bickett cards here for a while.
All right, Coach. Congratulations. You were the heir apparent for a while back, right? I mean, they had a succession plan in place prior to any knowledge that Coach Gladnick was moving on.
Yeah, that had been the plan. And very grateful to Ron for how he helped me prepare for this position. And we're super excited for him. He's going to do a great job down there. Just give him time, and he's going to get that thing rolling. But kept a core group of guys here that I can lean on, that are smart, that I trust. We're excited.
So I always thought Ron would be there forever, like Coach Burke. I didn't know you guys already had a little succession plan going on. So, I mean, did you know, I mean, we all kind of, I don't know if you did, but I think a lot of people were taken by surprise by him getting that job and taking that job. Were you aware that he was even applying for it?
It did happen quickly. We knew what was going on. He kept us in the loop. And like I said, we're fired up for him. I'm grateful to our administration here that they got this done quickly, because we wanted to get word out to our parents and our kids, most importantly, that we had a plan. The show was going to go on, and we were going to be just fine.
So the $64,000 question is, what changes now that there's a new head coach in Falcon Land? The wing tee stay, or are you going to start suddenly becoming an aerial circus?
We'll keep the wing tee around. That'll be our core. That'll be our identity. I was talking with Sean Sovacool on Sunday, actually, and he was comparing our offense that we're like in and out. We don't do a lot, but we're good. And we don't want to be like Cheesecake Factory that kind of does too much. So that'll be our DNA. But, we want to play the game the same way, be tough, be smart, and just be a humble group of ball players out there.
So what happens now? I mean, you and Coach Gladnick are good friends. I mean, you guys have all been together as a core group. What happens if he goes down the street? Where do the coaches go? Do you guys start, is it like dating? You guys start courting all the other coaches to stay with you or to go with him, or how's that work?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that are just loyal to Torrey Pines. They love Ron too, but it's this program, it's a school that's special. And a lot of those guys that are on campus teachers too. We had one coach go down with Ron, but like I said, we kept the core group together here. Scott Ashby will be our defensive coordinator, and that was a really easy decision to turn to him, and he did a great job working for Ed. He makes it fun. Allows kids to play fast. So we got a good group. We're looking for a few more, but we got some good irons in the fire. And we'll put this thing together here soon.
And who runs the offense? Is that your?
Yes, I will keep calling plays. I've been doing that kind of most of the last 5-6 years. We kind of dabbled in the spread there for a little bit with Danny, and he was an exceptional coach. I learned a lot from him, and happy to see where he's going to now. But we'll be wing T. We'll adjust to our personnel, play to our strengths, but we'll let things continue here.
And did Danny took a job in Europe, didn't
he? He did,
yeah.
Yeah, I think the Vienna Vikings is what I saw.
Mm-hmm. That's so. It's always impressive with you guys. I think the culture, because we would do games and we go to a lot of sidelines, and you can always tell a team's culture on the sideline, whether they're winning or losing. And you guys are always so impressive in that matter. So I guess, again, nothing changes that the head guy goes. I mean, because the culture still stays there, right?
That's the hope, yeah. And it's the kids, year to year. Teams are going to have their different personalities, but we got a bunch of guys that like to work hard. Brian Sipes, our head freshman coach, and he and I had a conversation a few years back that I know society's changed a lot, but kids still gravitate to things that are humble and hard. And I think that's what football is. So I think we just, we try to keep that at the forefront of what we do. And you guys know this, it's the greatest team sport ever. It teaches you more than anything else, I think, in the high school experience. So we're just excited to give that opportunity to our guys.
All right, now this is my opinion based on my observations. So anything that comes out of my mouth in the next 30 seconds is just Paul Rudy's opinion. So please, I have no inside dealings or anything, but it seemed to me that there was a rift that developed between school administration and Coach Gladnick during the let them play period, where the school wanted to be, stay masked up and follow all that, and Coach Gladnick was a big proponent to getting that spring season, and there seemed to be a rift there. Whether, one, you can tell me if I'm wrong, and secondly, is that part of the reason? Is the administration behind football at Torrey Pines High School?
So I'd say two things. Number one, what Ron and his team did was unbelievable. That was a very commendable act that they did, and it was weeks and months that they were just grinding to get that thing done. And what he and his crew did was remarkable, and getting sports back for all of California, not just high school football. I'll just speak to my relationship with our admin. I know we have their support. Like I said earlier, Rob, our principal, was amazing in getting this done quickly, so that we could continue on with our program here and playing Falcon football the way we want to.
Wait, did you answer the question, Coach? I didn't hear an answer.
Well, because Coach leaving Torrey Pines caught me off guard. I thought he was there forever, and so you don't leave if you're super, super happy.
It's a fair question. And I know Saints is a school that's very, very appealing to Ron, and he and I, in our conversations that we've had lately, he's enjoying the different landscape and the ability to go out and get guys, and they will get that thing rolling. It's a matter of time. And I've had conversations with other coaches in our county that hopefully it kind of levels out the playing field, amongst the schools that are getting a lot of talent. And that way, when the Carlsbads and the Torrey Pines and La Costas, when we play those guys in the playoffs, hopefully that disparity isn't quite as wide in terms of the talent.
And it is. I guess it's hard. It's hard to build a program nowadays in public wise. I mean, as opposed to private. I mean, private has so many more advantages than public. It's just hard. It's hard to build a program.
And especially when you have the King Kong of high school football teams, 100 steps from your front door. I mean, Cathedral Catholic is always on the horizon as far as everything you do, I would assume, correct?
Absolutely, and they do a great job. I mean, offensively, defensively, special teams, they're sound. They're not just talented, they're really good at what they do, and they execute. Their kids play hard. What we need to do, one of my goals is getting more two-sport athletes on our campus. So we need to recruit our own campus and get those guys that are playing lacrosse and basketball and soccer to come out and play football. So that's something we're working on right now, and hopefully that improves the depth of our roster. But yeah, we got our challenges, but every school does, and we've just got to find ways to overcome them.
So I guess that goes back to, so you do have like the dynasty, so to say, or the Alabama 100 steps away from you. I mean, do you think it's either way? Again, this would be like the Paul Rudy. Is it wise to run the exact same offense that they do, knowing that? I mean, the only way to pull away from Cathedral is to say, I don't want to run the wing T, pretty much. I mean, everybody knows that. I don't want to. Whether that's a lineman that doesn't want to do that or a quarterback, because every running back wants to do it, but receivers don't want to do it. Isn't that the way to compete 100 feet away, is to have a more exciting offense that might lure kids to say, I'd love to go to Cathedral, but I don't want to run the wing T?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And we know we've had some guys go other places because, they didn't want to play in this system. I think we love this offense for the same reasons they do. It's physical, it's tough. We control the tempo of the game. It helps our defense. They're more physical and how they're attacking offenses. And, you guys are absolutely right. They are a rival. They're right down the street. When we played them in the final in 2018, and they mounted a great comeback and played a better second half than we did. They outcoached us in the second half offensively. I did not do a great job there in the second half, but I think it can be done. I think every decade we'll have 3 to 4 teams that can hang with those guys. And we just got to make hay when we have it and take advantage of those opportunities. But, we can move the ball against them. Obviously, it's an advantage for them that they know us, and it's an advantage for our defense that we know them. But I believe so much in the offense. I learned a ton from Danny that has kind of stuck around a little bit in our pass game. But it's our DNA. And I honestly think I know the kids enjoy playing in it.
Yeah, and I guess that's all. And I mean, the wing tee fascinates me not 10 years ago, but nowadays with social media and kids with, wanting stars and everything else, I imagine it's hard to put on an offense that you really don't see on Sunday or Saturday when these kids watch TV or when they play Madden or they play their video games. They just, it's hard to, I would imagine at that age it's hard to get them to certain positions it's great for, but other ones I think detrimental to a point.
Yeah, and I think they do buy in. At the end of the day, whether you're running the wing tee, the spread, more of a pro under center system like the Rams do, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to score points, and it's about getting athletes the ball in space. I think spread systems do that through their RPOs and that type of stuff. We do that through our misdirection. But there's no better feeling than being in the fourth quarter of a football game. You have the lead, or it's a one possession game. You're running the football. They know what you're going to run. They can't stop it. And our kids love it. And they eat that stuff up.
What is that called? Establishing your dominant or your will? Your
imposing your will.
Imposing your will. Thank you. Imposing your will. All right. We had Tristan McCoy on last week, along with Eric Weddle, the heir apparent head coach at Rancho Bernardo. But I asked Tristan about the state of high school football in San Diego, expecting him to wax poetic, saying the state of the union is good, state of the county is good. I didn't get that vibe from him. In fact, he pulled up short, but it
seemed like we didn't have enough time.
We didn't have enough time to go into it, which we will do at another time. But he had reservations about the direction of football and how it's going, maybe his beef is the haves and the have-nots and the discrepancy there. We really didn't get into it all that much. But I'll ask you the same question. Is the sport healthy here in San Diego County?
I think overall the sport is healthy because of what the game teaches itself. But I do agree with what Tristan was saying. I have no problem with the private schools, whether it's Cathedral, Saints, Helix. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to recruit. So I don't have any issue with that. I just get concerned with what we're teaching kids at any school, at any level of football, with the transferring. When things get difficult, we change our scenery and we kind of move on without facing that adversity and overcoming it. So it is what it is. We can't control it. We can control our guys and how hard we're going to work and how hard we're going to play. But I think it's a great question. I think it's an important conversation that needs to be had. But there are issues, and it's the same things happening in college football. But there's been a lot of societal changes. So, but I believe we can win here, and I believe in our kids and our community.
Seems like it started at the NBA level with the creation of super teams. And, it's now, when LeBron and everybody went to Miami. And
yeah, I think it started slowly. I mean, when I was in college, you could transfer. First of all, high school, nobody transferred. And then in college, you'd have to sit out a year. And then there wasn't even free agency in the NFL at the time. But now I guess you can kind of move everywhere within a year. I mean, it's
people got tired of losing in court. The CIF has they don't have the manpower to monitor. Our friend, the commissioner, would say, hey, it's not an issue that the transfer rate is not any higher than it was 5 years ago, 8 years ago. I respectfully.
I kind of agree. I just think we didn't have the social media. I mean, I remember kids, in the 90s playing one sport at this school, and then the next sport season they would go to a different school and a different school, and it was an East County school. I'm not going to say who. But, I think we didn't have social media, so we just didn't have the exposure to it.
It just seems to me that kids are moving a lot more easily and more frequently. And you're seeing kids now play at 3 different high schools in the span of that's just insane.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. And I would love to listen to that podcast with whoever you guys have on for that. But it's something that needs to be discussed. But like I said, we can't control it. So we're going to work our tails off, get our kids prepared, do things the right way, teach them to be great men for the rest of their life. And we'll try and win as many games as we can each year.
Coach, when do you guys start spring football?
We're going to go the last 2 weeks of May. So our school year is actually getting done 1 week earlier. We used to do 3 weeks, but with how many guys we're going to have playing spring sports, and with the 7-on-7 stuff starting this past Sunday, we're kind of ahead of where we used to be going into spring because we started already. So our emphasis once we get to spring will really be on our run game, because pass-wise and coverage-wise defensively, most everything's going to be in.
I can tell you're not a fan, this 7-on-7 stuff.
Well, do you have it seems like everybody has their own 7-on-7 affiliate. Do you have your own 7-on-7 squad?
We've kept the Dirty Birds rolling. Yeah, we played we played Sunday. There's benefits even for us, and obviously for our defense. They're going against the empties and the spread sets that they're going to see in the regular season. And for us, we're running what we're going to run come the fall. So there's still huge benefits for us. It's just fun to let the kids start competing. So I'm for doing this stuff, and the kids have a blast. Like it's organized pickup football, which is what everybody wants to do for as long as they can. So there's definitely benefits in it for us.
Any fancy new uniforms for the Dirty Birds or anything like that? Anything flashy?
There's a new set coming in for the Falcons. So we had black and white last year, which were new. We switched to Nike, but we've got a Cardinal set coming in for next year. So.
Oh, very cool. I look forward to that. Hey, as we wrap this up, how are your numbers? Are you still as many kids playing football?
Our numbers are great. We had the biggest JV team we've had in a long time last year, and we were kind of scratching our heads about that ourselves. We didn't know because they kind of just rolled right from that spring season into the next one, so they all just kept going. I think a part of it was kids just kind of being locked down for a while, not being able to do anything. So they want to experience as much as they can now that they're able to go play sports again. But our numbers are great. We had a strong freshman group last year. But I think the sport of football is as healthy as it's been. I was actually listening to some of your guys' previous podcasts, and it's been made a lot safer. I know it's a different game, but I think they have to do that for the livelihood and the health of the sport long term.
Absolutely.
We have to send him a special souvenir for actually listening to our podcast.
I know, he listens.
Hey, last question. How good is Gladnick's at the grill? Is he really as good as all the video?
Or is that like the Instagram
that some other
girls
chef?
that have the filters, but you see him in person? Have you ever seen one of those prime rib in person?
Well, he left his barbecue here. It's sitting back there in the equipment room. I might go drop it off at his house soon. But what he grilled this past weekend was actually for a Torrey Pines dinner, an auction item that somebody had bought at the golf tournament back in the summer. So I actually picked it up from his house, took it to the dinner. It was very good. He gets a lot of the meat from Cecil's down in Bay Park.
Yeah, sure.
He'll order it from everywhere throughout the country too. But honestly, I love when the brats are my personal favorite. So
now you're singing. You're talking to this Wisconsin boy. Have you ever had a brat? Good brat?
I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, Coach Collins, we appreciate you making time for us, and we look forward. Obviously, your Torrey Pines is always part of the game of the week somewhere along the line, if not twice, sometimes multiple times. So we look forward to seeing you in the fall, if not sooner.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Whatever you need, we're here to help.